Nothing. Or you could just go with it.
All right, tomorrow, the quiz is 60 points, so the practice quiz is exactly the same. We're gonna change a couple of them. You got two options, grab a piece of paper and draw a circle out right out of the chute, systematically going through it. The other option is to do them one at a time, which is fine too. It's up to you, whatever you want to do, okay? So systematically, I'll do that for us right now. Of course, this is 0, 90, 180, 270, all the way around 360. Pi over 2, pi is 3 pi over 2. Of course, that could be 0 or 2 pi. Your x and y at these points, okay? Your x here is 0, your y is 1. Your x over here is -1, your y is 0. Down here, your x is 0, your y is -1. And over here, your x is 1, and your y is 0, and there's your start for the 90s. Remember, it's unique. When you do an arc or an inverse for the 90s, there's only going to be one also. Also, if you do all 6 trig values for 90, some of them will be undefined, so be careful there. 45. Remember the reference angle down to the x-axis is a 45, okay? So think of that. 135 down to the x-axis is a 45. 225 up to the x-axis, and 315 up the x-axis. Pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4. 45, here is your hypotenuse of 1, okay? This is your x value, this is your y value, isn't it? And the hypotenuse of 1, the x and y are both going to be square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. Over here in this quadrant, it's the exact same thing. Although my x value is going to be negative, my y value is going to be positive. So my x is negative square root of 2 over 2, positive square root of 2 over 2. Down here, both are going to be negative.
You increase that string and you do things.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Over here, your x is positive, and your y is negative. The 45 is easier because you can't really screw it up. The x's and y's are the same, right? When you get to the 30s and the 60s, you better be on your game to know which is which. Now, you draw the triangle out, you can almost see it visually. If you have a decent sized circle, you can visually see which is the short side of the 30-60. Okay, so the 30 is going to be here. Reference angle down to the x-axis. 150. 210. 330. Hypotenuse of 1. Folks, this is your x. This is your y. Visually look at it. Which one looks like it's the shortest side? The y. It's half. The x is the square root of 3 over 2. Is that going to be the same in all these? Yes. Okay. Here's your x. It is negative square root of 3 over 2. Your y is half. Of course, down here, both are negative. And back down here, your x is positive. Your y is negative. If you're struggling, I think you should draw it all out at the same time. I personally think that's the best way. Then you can can go back and refer to that. You need to knock this stuff out. You have to get your X and Y right. If you don't get your X and Y right, you're wasting all your time doing the rest of it. All right, 60. I'm sorry, I didn't do radian measurement for 130. We'll go back to that here, or to the 30s. So 300 Bowler's Green. Let's go back and radian measurement on the 30 degrees. Of course, this would be pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6 here, and this is 11 pi over 6. Sorry about that. All right, the 60, let's do that. It's going to be pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, and 5 pi over 3. Okay, so your 60 comes here. Now your short side is the X, your long side is the Y, so this is going to be 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Over here, your X will be negative half, positive square root of 3 over 2. Down here is negative half and negative square root of 3 over 2. And 300 is going to be positive half and negative square root of 3 over 2 for your X and Y coordinates. So don't forget, it is positive, positive here, negative, negative here, negative, positive, positive, negative. Your sine of any of these is your Y value. Your cosine of any of these is your X value. Your tangent of any of these angles is Y over X. Your cosecant is 1 over Y, your secant 1 over X, and your cotangent is X over Y. And there you have it. A beautiful thing. Questions, anyone there? Everybody okay?
Ray Rice.
Oh, that's it. Bro.
No, listen. I was Chipotle and this kid had math down in here. She called it. It like kept going off of it. That's one. That's the person you gotta go Ray Rice.
All right. These degrees of radian problems should be pretty straight up for you. You are going to multiply here by pi over 180. Keep your pi there. This is going to be 5 pi over 2. Even though these aren't our perfect triangle ones that we have on our unit circle, that's okay. This is going to be pi over 180 again. Simplifying negative 100 over 180, you're going to get negative 5 pi over 9.
Wait, how did this happen? I'm so confused now. Don't you use the divide?
And
I thought it was a division one if you had the.
that's where 3 and 4. Well,
And
yeah,
you
you
multiply
are.
that?
Well, you are dividing.
You're simplifying a fraction.
Yeah. Here we're going to multiply by 180 over pi, so the pi's cancel. This is just Negative 13 times 180 divided by 6, this is negative 390. Here, we're multiplying by 180 over pi again. Pi's cancel. 5 times 180 divided by 12. And this is 75 degrees. So those are pretty easy. Don't mess those up. Would you agree? All right. As you start to attack, these are the hardest ones. 5 through 10. Okay, so 5, cos of 300. Well, cosine is my x value, so I need to figure out what the x value is at 300. If I've already drawn out my triangle or my circle, I just find it, look for the x, and I put it in. Does that make sense? If I don't have that, I might need to draw a circle. Okay? Make sure you get your x, your 300 in the right spot. That would be down here, wouldn't it? Make sense, everybody? Okay? Well, looks like the x is what? Right here, which is positive half. Sine 3 pi over 4. Well, you might want to figure out what 3 pi over 4 is first. That is 135 degrees. You winning?
Looking for the practice.
Oh, God, don't
Wait a minute.
freaking lie to me. You think I am stupid?
He was looking at oranges this entire time though, like genuinely.
I know that. Okay, he wants to look at an orange while I'm going over the practice book, that's great.
Orange?
Trying to
find it.
This is the y value. What is the y value at negative, or excuse me, 3 pi over 4? The y value there is square root of 2 over 2. Tangent. Tangerine oranges. Tangent is y over x. So you better figure out what your y value, your x value is at 210. 210 puts us right down here, 210. Okay? So your x is negative square root of 3 over 2, and your y is negative half. So we're going to have 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2. And they're both negative, so when we invert, both negative will cancel. You really end up with 1 over the square root of 3, which you'll need to rationalize. So you end up with the square root of 3 over 3. Cotangent. Cotangent is your x over your y. Okay? 2 pi. 2 pi is all the way right here, all the way around. Your x is 1, your y is 0. So this is going to be 1 over 0, which is undefined. 4 pi over 3. This guy is going to end up being negative 2 square roots of 3 over 3. That is 1 over y, so this is cosecant is 1 over y, and then your y value there. Invert and multiply. Secant of 315 ends up being the square root of 2. So that is the square root of 2, secant of 315. And that is 1 over your y value. Your y value there is square root of 2 over 2, invert and multiply. 11, 12, 13, 14 should be able to get at least half those. So 11, just right there, you might want to practice, make sure arc is the same thing as inverse. So you're looking at your x value here, your x is square root of 3 over 2, and that's a 30-degree angle. Your x is also positive down at 330. That's the one you gotta make sure you figure out how to get. So this one is easy, your calculator gives you, you're gonna have to figure that one out because you're gonna need to know your x is positive. Arc sine, so this will give you negative 45, which is also the same as 315. Folks, that's the same angle, so you gotta find the second one. In this case, is 225, that's where the y value is negative. Cos of 1 That's your x value. Your x value is 1 at 0 degrees. You could also write that as 360, but those are the same angle, 0 and 360. Tangent of -1. Calculator will probably throw out -45, which is also positive 315. Those are the same. Your second angle is 135. Questions on any of those? Yeah.
Kind of lost a little bit on 12 and 14. I mean, not lost,
Raise your
but
hand, Mike.
oh, please.
Tell me what you need.
Okay, so I got -45, I got 315.
All right, so let's put that down there. 315 right here, right?
Yeah.
Or -45. You see that's the same, right?
Yeah.
All right, signs, which value, x or y?
Y.
It is the y value, which is this guy right here. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So the other y has to be negative. So the only other spot y is negative is right here. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So that has to be in the same family. Okay?
That makes sense.
So that's why it's 225.
Yep.
Anybody else want to see the outline?
So will there be like 3? Wait, how do you figure out if there's 2 or 3?
There's always 2. There's never 3. These are coterminal.
Oh, so they're just the same?
Yeah, they're the same. Those are coterminal.
We have to put the code.
No. No, I didn't ask anything about coterminal, but they are. I was just stating that they are the same. So I didn't mean to confuse anybody there. What else? Anybody else?
How did you find, like, I feel like this is a stupid question. How did you find the first angle? I just don't know what to put.
Right in your calculator, hon.
Like, where did you put it?
Second sine or second tangent. Which one are you doing?
I'm just 11.
11.
I'm sorry.
Second cos. Square root of 3, close the bracket. Look to the square root divided by 2, hit enter as long as you're in degree mode. Should give it to you.
Mine said domain error.
Yeah, well, you're not in degree mode or you're not close to the bracket, right?
Word that fraction the percent, or the degree first, then do. You know, like multiply by 1, is it multiply by 180, right? Or
Multiply by
multiply by 180 with pi, and then that'll give you your degree, and then from there plug it in.
What do you mean, she not,
I think she's just plugging in a straight,
what?
3 arc cos radical 3 over 2.
Yeah, it should work.
Probably easier.
I get that.
Our code is -7. Sorry.
Cos inverse.
How do you get 135?
I probably figured it out, but
I
that's.
got -45.
For what?
No, 14.
Look, Chris.
Where's the 135?
In your degrees, that's good.
Chris said it the way that's.
So second cos, right? With
Yeah, I know.
cos square root of 3.
Yeah, Corey, what were you doing? What?
Alright.
I was trying to look for a good color for it. So now I was gonna pull up the practice.
I was looking at oranges for 10 minutes.
That's what I was doing. and-
You were looking at a fruit for 10 minutes.
No,
Cigarette.
the color.
I got the
Oh.
number 14. I get -45, but I didn't get like the second one.
Alright, so -45 is right here, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, tangent, you're on tangent, right?
Yeah.
The other tangent is gotta be up here where it's negative. Okay, because it's positive down here, because it'd be a negative y divided by negative x. So tangent is a little different, your tangent is positive here, here, negative here, and negative here. So you see it's negative, so that's when you gotta think about it a little bit, see what's going on.
Okay,
I
so
don't know if that helps or not.
-2.
All right, 300, so we gotta figure out what 300 is. Puts us right down here, doesn't it? 300, looks like your x is 1/2 and your y is negative square root of 3 over 2. Again, if you do your whole plate first, you'll know that, right? So 6 trig values, and you gotta make sure you take care of business here. So sine, cosine, and tangent. All right, sine is your y value. What's your y value here? Negative square root of 3 over 2. Cosine is 1/2. So your tangent is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. Invert, cancel, basically negative square root of 3. You looking at apples now?
No.
Sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent of that same angle. Invert this to be negative 2 over the square root of 3. You'll need to rationalize, get negative 2 square roots of 3 over 3. Secant is half, flip that, it's gonna be 2. Negative, this is gonna be 1 over negative square root of 3, so rationalize. And as I said yesterday, it doesn't matter where the negative is, it can be on the top or bottom. There you have it, ladies and germs, how we feeling?
Can you,
Oh, boy,
can you
there it is.
scroll up to 12:13
There it is.
and then just leave it there? So
Yep.
You need it up there.
Thank you.
Oh. You going up into that?
I have my driver's license, but I have one.
You work? Where do you work?
KJ, I'm gonna freeze it on the other screen.
What do you do there? Make the pizza?
I'm thinking about applying for
Why would you wanna work at fast food?
13 pays $250. Like, as soon as you.
They give you $200